26-27. At the outset, I extend my warm greetings in a statement of account. It is a vision for the future and a roadmap for the next phase of Sikkim's transformation. It reaffirms the government's unwavering resolve to build a Sunaulu, Samriddha, and Samartha Sikkim, where every citizen has the opportunity to realize their aspirations and contribute to the state's continued progress. Our state recently crossed a monumental milestone as 16 May 2025 marked 50 years of Sikkim statehood. This historic occasion commemorated a defining chapter in our history when Sikkim became the 22nd state of the Indian Union. Statehood opened unprecedented opportunities for our people, strengthening our democratic institutions, accelerated socio-economic development, and firmly integrated Sikkim into the national mainstream while safeguarding our unique identity and heritage. The Golden Jubilee celebration provided a cherished opportunity to reflect on Sikkim's remarkable journey over the past five decades and to reaffirm our aspiration for the future. We are deeply honored by the presence and support of several distinguished national leaders who join us in commemorating this historic milestone. It was a matter of immense pride for the people of Sikkim that the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, graciously consented to inaugurate the Golden Jubilee celebration. Although he traveled to Bagdogra Airport to proceed onwards to Sikkim, unfavorable weather conditions prevented him from making the journey. Despite this, the Honorable Prime Minister addressed the inaugural function virtually and in a heartfelt gesture assured the people of Sikkim that he would personally join the concluding celebration. True to his word, the Honorable Prime Minister fulfilled that promise and graced the grand closing ceremony with his presence. His visit was a touching testament to his affection for Sikkim and the people, making the culminations of our Golden Jubilee celebration even more memorable and meaningful. Addressing the gathering, the Honorable Prime Minister praised Sikkim for the unparalleled natural beauty, commended the state achievement in cleanliness and environmental conservation, and described our people as true custodian of nature. He encouraged citizens from across the country to visit Sikkim and experience and breathtaking landscape, rich cultural heritage, and exemplary model of sustainable development. The Honorable Prime Minister was particularly moved by the spectacular 1,000-step unity performance in which more than 2,000 artists came together in a magnificent display of unity in diversity. Describing it as a true reflection of the spirit of India, he observed that the performance beautifully showcased the nation's enduring stand in its cultural diversity and harmonious coexistence. His presence, inspiring words and unwavering affection for Sikkim filled the occasion with immense pride, renewed confidence, and patriotic fervor, making it a truly historic moment in the state Golden Jubilee celebration. Our beloved state was further honored by the visit of our eminent national dignitaries. We had the privilege of welcoming the Honorable Vice President of India, Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan ji, along with the Honorable Union Minister for the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region, Shri Jyotirade M. Scindia ji, during the 51st State Day celebration. In another moment of immense pride of Sikkim, the Honorable President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu Madam, visited our state to confer the prestigious President's Collar upon the Sikkim Police in recognition of their exemplary service. During her visit, Sikkim was also officially declared a fully literary state under Union government's Ullas Nav Bharat Saksharta Karyakram initiative, making yet another historic milestone in our developmental journey. The Honorable President also flagged up the Ama Didi Baini Ping Bus Seva, a pioneer initiative aimed at providing safe, accessible, and dignified public transport for women. On behalf of this August House and the people of Sikkim, I extend my hottest congratulations to the Sikkim Police and Education Department for this historic accomplishment, which stand as shining example of dedication and excellence in public service. Another feather in our cap was the declaration of Sikkim as the first paperless judiciary in India at the conclave of technology and judicial education. Honorable Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India, Honorable Sri Justice Surya Kanji, officially declared Sikkim as the first state judiciary in the country to achieve this historic distinction. The conference was graced by several eminent dignitaries, including the Honorable Attorney General of India, Sri R. Venkataramanji, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Seychelles, Honorable Mr. Justice Roni James Govindinji, Honorable Justice of the Honorable Supreme Court, Honorable Chief Justice and Honorable Judges of the High Court of the country, among others. On behalf of this August House and the people of Sikkim, I place on record our sincere gratitude to all the distinguished dignitaries who visited our state during this historic Golden Jubilee year. Their presence, appreciation, words of encouragement have not only elevated Sikkim's stature on the national and international stage, but have also provided a significant impetus to our tourism sector and strengthen our collective aspiration for sustained growth and development. I also place on record our profound appreciation to all the officials of the state government, the police, security agencies, and the individuals who contributed to the successful planning and executions of this high-profile visit. Their unwavering commitment, meticulous coordination, and exemplary professionalism ensured that every event was conducted seamlessly despite the demanding timelines, bringing immense pride, honor, and recognition to Sikkim. Honorable Speaker, sir, as a lasting tribute to the Golden Jubilee celebration, we have created the Swarna Jayanti Maitre Manjari, which was virtually inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister during the launch of the year-long Golden Jubilee celebration. Developed as a 26-foot-tall copper monument at Rees Park, it symbolizes 5 decades of Sikkim integration, progress, and rich cultural heritage. The complex also houses a state-of-the-art arcadium featuring over 100 species of the native and exotic orchid, reflecting Sikkim's remarkable biodiversity and commitment to conservation. During the closing ceremony, the Honorable Prime Minister extended his visit to the site by nearly 45 minutes beyond the scheduled program, appreciating its beauty. He particularly enjoyed viewing the diverse collections of orchid and the rare species showcased in the orchidium. To further commemorate this historic milestone, the government has proposed 2 landmark initiatives, the Swarna Jayanti Integrated Sports and Culture Village and the Swarna Jayanti Convention Center. The Swarna Jayanti Integrated Sports and Culture Village will comprise a state-of-the-art football stadium of FIBA standard and another stadium with a track and field complex for sports and cultural activities, 2 indoor stadium for contact and non-contact sports complemented by dedicated high-performance center with a sports medicine unit, training institute, and hostel cum residential facilities designed to nurture and unlock the immense potential of Sikkim youth. This integrated hub will serve as a catalyst for sporting excellence. Leveraging Sikkim's natural high altitude advantage, the project will contribute significantly to both regional and national sports development. The proposed Swarna Jayanti state-of-the-art convention center, together with its allied facilities, it envisions as a world-class venue for national and international events designed to host meeting, incentive, conference, and exhibition. The center will also cater to destination wedding, offering world-class facilities for hosting landmark celebration. This transformative initiative will position Sikkim as the leading destination for MICE and destination weddings, attracting high-value tourism, generating employment, stimulating local business, and enhancing the state's profile as a global competitive destination for business, leisure, and destination wedding tourism. We are confident that this project will be completed within the next 2 to 3 years and will serve as enduring symbols of our Golden Jubilee celebration, while contributing significantly to the socio-cultural and economic development of the state. Honorable Speaker, sir, I also take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt congratulations to our beloved Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji on becoming the longest serving head of an elected government in the history of our nation. On 22nd March 2026, the Honorable Prime Minister carved his name in history by attending this remarkable distinction, a milestone that stands as a powerful testament to the immense trust, faith, and confidence that the people of India have reposed in his able leadership. His extraordinary public life, spanning more than 25 years of unwavering and tireless services to the nation, reflect the democratic continuity, political resilience, and an unshakable commitment to the progress and prosperity of India. Every moment of his leadership has been guided by his singular dedication to national service and the welfare of our people, truly embodying the spirit of the Karma Yogi, where service to the nation rises above all is. Further aiding to this extraordinary legacy, on 10 June 2026, the Honorable Prime Minister achieved yet another historic distinction by becoming the longest serving elected Prime Minister of India, surpassing the record of 4,398 days in office previously held by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, having first assumed office on 26 May 2014. He crossed this milestone with 4,399 consecutive days as the elected Prime Minister of the country, underscoring the remarkable continuity of leadership and the enduring faith of the people in his stewardship of the nation. On behalf of the people of Sikkim, I convey our warmest congratulations and best wishes to the Honorable Prime Minister for his continued leadership in guiding India towards the cherished visions of a Vikasit Bharat and an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Honorable Speaker, sir, this year the general municipal elections were successfully conducted across all 9 urban local bodies of the state, including the newly constituted municipalities of Soring and Pakyong. Elections were held for 63 out of 64 seats across the urban local bodies, with an unprecedented 62 candidates being elected unopposed. A particularly noteworthy achievement has been the enhanced representation of women in urban governance, with 35 women elected as a councillor, and for the first time in the history of Sikkim, a woman being elected as mayor of the Gangtok Municipal Corporation. This historic achievement stands as a testament of the government's unwavering commitment to inclusive, participatory, and accountable governance, as well as to advancement of women's leadership in public life. The overwhelming public mandate is a testament to the trust and confidence that the people have reposed in the democratic process, and underscore the spirit of consensus, cooperation, and political maturity that characterize our state. On behalf of this august hour, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the State Election Commission, all election officers, district administration, security personnel, political parties, candidates, and all, above all, the people of Sikkim, whose active participation, cooperation, and commitment ensure the peaceful, free, fair, and successful conduct of the municipal election. Honorable Speaker, sir, the Union Budget 2026-27 presented by the Honorable Union Finance Minister lays out a clear roadmap towards the vision of Vikasit Bharat 2047, with a strong emphasis on harnessing the power of Yuva Shakti, accelerating economic growth, strengthening governance, and ensuring inclusive development. The budget's continued focus on Garib Kalyan, infrastructure creation, energy security, climate resilience, and fiscal prudence reflect a balanced and forward-looking development strategy. The emphasis on road, railway, logistics, digital connectivity, and regional infrastructure is particularly significant for geographically sensitive and strategically important states like Sikkim. I am especially encouraged by the continued priority accorded to the Northeastern region through PM Divine, the Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme, and other initiatives aimed at strengthening connectivity, infrastructure, and public services. The announcement of the dedicated Buddhist circuit scheme covering Sikkim and other northeastern states is of particular significance. It will promote culture tourism, preserve our rich Buddhist heritage, and create new livelihood opportunities. The budget's emphasis on hill agriculture, high-value crops, post-harvest infrastructure, and technology enable farming complements Sikkim's organic farming model. Likewise, the focus on strengthening healthcare, social infrastructure, and educational opportunities in the Northeast aligns closely with our state developmental priorities. I place on record our sincere gratitude to the Government of India and the Union Ministry of Finance for their continued support to the development of our Sikkim. Honorable Speaker, sir, the national priorities articulated in the Union budget resonate strongly with Sikkim's own developmental aspiration and reinforce the direction that our state has pursued over the past 5 decades. Building upon this strong foundation, we now look ahead with renewed purpose and determination to accelerate Sikkim's journey towards an resilient, inclusive, and future-ready economy. As we celebrate the milestone of the past 50 years, we must also prepare ourselves to seize the opportunities and address the challenges of the decades ahead. In an increasingly dynamic and competitive world, the role of government must evolve beyond that of a provider to become an enabler, facilitator, regulator, and catalyst for innovation, investment, and sustainable prosperity. We shall continue to foster an enabling environment for private enterprise while making strategic public investment and ensuring that governance is transparent, accountable, and guided by evidence and data-driven decision making. Guided by our vision of Sunolu, Samriddha, and Samartha Sikkim, and inspired by the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Vikasit Bharat 2047, we remain steadfast in building a prosperous, equitable, and environmentally sustainable state. Our priorities will continue to center on quality education, accessible healthcare, modern infrastructure, sustainable livelihood, women empowerment, entrepreneurship, and expanded opportunities for our youth, while ensuring that the benefit of development reach every section of society and every region of the state. Honorable Speaker, sir, I now present economic profile of the state. Sikkim has emerged as one of the most progressive states in the Indian Union. Despite its mountainous terrain and connectivity challenges, the state has consistently demonstrated that determined leadership, sound policies, and people-centered governance can deliver exceptional outcomes. Over the past 5 decades since its integration with India, Sikkim has achieved remarkable progress in both economic development and human well-being. In the last 8 years, the state has recorded an average real gross state domestic product, GSDP, growth of more than 12.6%, nearly 2% points higher than the average growth recorded by the state across the country. The transformation of Sikkim's economy has been particularly noteworthy. Although the state per capita GSDP remained below the national average for nearly 3.5 decades following its integration with the Indian Union, it has since recorded remarkable economic progress. Today, Sikkim has the highest per capita GSDP in the country at more than 3 times the national average. The benefits of this economic growth are visible in the lives of our people. Household expenditure level, as reflected in recent surveys, are among the highest in the country, accompanied by a significant decline in poverty, Sikkim contribution to the national economy has also increased steadily, rising from just 0.04% of India's income in 1980-81 to about 0.20% in 2024-25. Equally impressive has been the state's progress in human development, from being among the lower ranked state in the early 1980s. Sikkim today stands among the leading states of the country in terms of human development index. Honorable Speaker, sir, Sikkim is well positioned to accelerate its economic growth and human development in the year ahead. The state economic structure, supported by robust manufacturing and hydropower sector, already exhibits many of the characteristics of a middle-income economy. Building on this strength, the government envisions Sikkim emerging as one of the fastest-growing economies in the country, while ensuring that public service remain accessible, affordable, and citizen-centric. The vision of Vikasit Sikkim 2047 seeks to substantially expand the state economy, enhance the prosperity of its people, and secure a high quality of life for every citizen. Achieving this vision will require sustaining an average annual GSDP growth rate of over 13%. This presents only a modest acceleration of less than 1% point over our current growth trajectory, making this ambition both realistic and achievable through sound governance, strategic investment, and the collective effort of our people. The vision of a developed and prosperous Sikkim by 2047 is undoubtedly ambitious, but it is well within the reach. The state's impressive growth record, combined with its ability in innovate, adopt, and respond effectively to emerging challenges, gives us confidence that this vision can be achieved. Honorable Speaker, sir, I now present the fiscal profile of our state, highlighting the progress, achievement, economic growth, resource mobilization, and fiscal management. The gross state domestic product (GSDP) of Sikkim at current prices is projected at rupees 62,973 crores in 2026-27, reflecting an increase of more than 121% over the GSDP of rupees 28,402 crores in 2018-19. This growth underscored the resilience of our economy and the sustained effort of the government to create an enabling environment for development. Public expenditure has expanded significantly to support this growth trajectory. The budget estimate for 2026-27 envisages total expenditure exceeding rupees 18,455 crore compared to rupees 6,940 crores in 2018-19. More importantly, capital expenditure, which creates productive asset and strengthening the foundation of the long-term growth, is estimated to exceed rupees 5,896 crores in 2026-27 compared to rupees 720.61 crore in 2019-20. This remarkable expansion in public investment has been made possible through enhanced state-owned revenues, prudent fiscal management, successful mobilization of additional resources from external aided projects, the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region, and the Ministry of Finance, Government of India. Our emphasis on timely implementation project has enabled the state to leverage performance-linked funding and strengthen infrastructure creation across sectors. Sikkim's success in securing these additional resources reflect the government's commitment to reforms and efficient public financial management. We have successfully implemented a series of reform measures prescribed by the Department of Expenditure, Ministry of Finance, Government of India, including urban reforms, land-related reforms in rural and urban areas, implementation of SNA SWAS, and sustained enhancement of capital expenditure. These reforms have strengthened government's improved service delivery and enable the state to access additional fiscal support. I take this opportunity to convey my sincere appreciation to all department and officers associated with the implementation of the prescribed reform initiative. Their commitment and coordinated effort have enabled Sikkim to successfully achieve reform milestone and secure significant additional resources for capital investment. The government places on record its gratitude for their valuable contribution towards strengthening the fiscal and governance framework of the state. Honorable Speaker, sir, the structure of the Sikkim economy differs evidently from that of the countries as a whole. While the secondary sector, led by manufacturing and hydropower, account for more than half of the state GSDP, employment remain concentrated in agriculture, although agriculture contributes only a modest share to economic output. It continued to sustain a large segment of our workforce, whereas relatively few workers are employed in manufacturing, power generation, and construction. Bridging this structural imbalance will be centered to our development strategy through higher agricultural productivity, value additions, diversification, and the creation of quality employment opportunity in industry and the service sector. Keeping these realities in view, the government has identified 5 key pillars that will guide our development strategy in the years ahead: strengthening productive sector of the economy, improving infrastructure and connectivity, investing in human capital, promoting development that in the harmony with our ecological heritage, and fostering planned and sustainable urbanization. These priorities will form the foundation of our effort to achieve faster, more inclusive and sustainable growth. Honorable Speaker, sir, I now present to this House some of the new initiatives that the state will undertake in this financial year to enable us to achieve the vision of the Sunolu Samriddha Ani Samarthya Sikkim in the most effective and efficient manner. As I have mentioned, agriculture continues to be the backbone of our rural economy and the primary source of livelihood for a large section of our population. To strengthen the farming sector and make institutional credit more affordable, the government has decided to launch state interest subvention scheme for Kisan Credit Card KCC agriculture crop loans. At present, farmer able crop loan under the Kisan Credit Card scheme at an interest rate of 7%. Farmer who repay their loans on time receive an interest subvention of 3% through NABARD under the Government of India scheme, reducing the effective interest rate to 4%. To further support our farmer community, the government will provide an additional interest subvention of 3% to farmers who repay their KCC crop loan within the prescribed time and are utilizing the fund for agriculture and related activities. As a result, eligible farmers will effectively avail agriculture crop loan at only 1% interest per annum. This initiative will significantly reduce the cost of cultivation, improve access to timely credit, and encourage greater investment in agriculture. It will particularly benefit small and marginal farmers, promote adoption of improved farming practices, and strengthen credit distribution across the sector. The scheme will be implemented through the Corporation Department in partnership with the Sikkim State Cooperative Bank and Primary Agriculture Credit Cooperative Society, ensuring that benefit reach farmers at the grassroots level. Through affordable credit, stronger cooperative institution, and sustained support for agriculture development, the government remains committed to building a vibrant, productive, and prosperous rural economy and improving the livelihood of our farmers. Honorable Speaker, sir, the health and well-being of our women remain a foremost priority of the government. Cervical cancer is the second most common cancer among women in Sikkim after breast cancer. The cervical cancer is primarily caused by persistent infection with the human papilloma virus. It is also one of the few cancers that can be effectively prevented and ultimately eliminated through timely vaccination and early screening. Sikkim has been a pioneer in HPV prevention through the successful implementation of the HPV vaccination program for 14-year-old girls. I am pleased to inform This August House that the vaccination campaign has already achieved 92.11% coverage. To further strengthen our effort towards the elimination of cervical cancer, the government has decided to launch a statewide SPV screening program based on self-sampling. Under this initiative, women in the age group of 30 to 65 years, covering approximately 1.5 lakh beneficiaries, will be provided SPV self-sampling kits following appropriate counseling and training. This innovative approach will enable women to collect sample confidently and with privacy, thereby improving screening coverage and facilitating early detection. The sample will be tested through the state healthcare system. Women diagnosed with SPB infection or pre-cancerous lesions will receive timely treatment and follow-up care. Will suspected cancer cases will be referred to specialized facilities for comprehensive diagnosis and management. This landmark initiative will complement the government's ongoing SPB vaccination program and strengthen our effort towards the prevention, early detection, and elimination of cervical cancer. With this comprehensive variety of vaccination, screening, and treatment, Sikkim has the potential to become the first state in the country to eliminate cervical cancer as a public health challenge, setting a national benchmark in preventive health care. Honorable Speaker, sir, the burden of end-stage kidney disease in Sikkim has increased steadily, placing immense pressure on both patient and the healthcare system. Between 2020, 23, and 25, the Short Thutup Namgyal Memorial Hospital recorded 452 cases of chronic kidney disease, of which 74 patients were formally referred outside the state for kidney transplantation. However, these figures represent only a fraction of the actual need. Many patients continue on lifelong dialysis with a referral due to financial constraint, advanced age, associated medical condition, lack of such suitable caregiver, or their inability to relocate outside the state for prolonged treatment. Consequently, the demand for kidney transplantation in Sikkim is far greater than the official referral data suggests. At present, patients require kidney transplantation must travel to New Delhi, Kolkata, South India, and other tertiary care center, where they often remain for 6 months to 1 year for evaluation, surgery, and follow-up care. This places an immense financial, social, and emotional burden on affected families, while simultaneously placing considerable pressure on the state dialysis infrastructure. The STNM hospital at present operates 17 hemodialysis machine almost round the clock, providing more than 50 dialysis sessions every day. Dialysis unit at Namchi, Gezing, Mangan, Jorthang, and other centers are also functioning at or near full capacity, highlighting the growing demand for kidney replacement therapy and the urgent need to establish a definitive treatment option within the state. I am thus pleased to inform this August House that Sikkim is now poised to launch its own kidney transplant program, making a transformative milestone in state healthcare journey with well-established Department of Nephrology and Urology at SNM Hospital, a trained multidisciplinary transplant team, and the necessary clinical expert, institutional capacity, and supporting infrastructure now firmly in place. The state has attained readiness to undertake kidney transplantation services for the first time in its history. According to the government, possesses to operationalize the kidney transplant program during the current financial year. Once commenced, this pioneering initiative will enable patients suffering from end-stage kidney disease to receive a life-saving kidney transplantation within the state, eliminating the need to travel outside Sikkim for specialized treatment. This will sustainably reduce the financial, logical, and emotional hardship borne by patients and their families, while ensuring timely access to advance medical care closer to home. The program also represents a significant step forward in the government's commitment to strengthening tertiary healthcare services, building self-resilience in specialized medical care, and delivering high-quality healthcare to the people of Sikkim. Honorable Speaker, sir, I am pleased to inform the August House that the government has achieved a historic milestone with the grant of the letter of permission by the National Medical Commission for the establishment of the Sikkim Government Medical College at Sochak-Gang with an annual intake of 100 MBBS students from the academic year 26-27. The establishment of our own government medical college will significantly expand opportunities for aspiring medical students from Sikkim, strengthening the availability of skilled healthcare professionals, reduce dependence on institutions outside the state, and enhance the quality of healthcare services for our people. It marks the beginning of a new era in medical education and healthcare in the state. The government remains fully committed to ensuring that the medical college consistently meets the standard prescribed by the National Medical Commission. Necessary investment will continue to be made in academic infrastructure, teaching faculty, hospital facilities, modern medical equipment, digital system, and research so that the institution develop into a center of excellence in medical education. Honorable Speaker, sir, recognizing that reliable and connectivity is fundamental to economic growth, tourism development, improve access to essential service, the government has decided to introduce mastic asphalt surfacing as a key component of its road infrastructure strategy. This modern resilient technology is particularly suited to the climate and geographical condition of the Sikkim, offering enhanced resistance to water, increased surface weakening, and heavy traffic load while ensuring longer pavement life and lower maintenance costs. By providing durable, safe, and all-weather connectivity, it will significantly improve mobility for citizens and strengthen linkages between rural communities, market, education institute, healthcare facilities, and tourism destinations. Initially, the government proposed to upgrade approximately 570 kilometers of road across the state through mastic asphalt surfacing at an estimated investment of rupees 546 crore in a staggered manner with stringent quality assurance provision, including a 7 years defect liability period. This initiative represents a significant step towards building a modern, climate resilient and sustainable road network that will support Sikkim long-term development aspiration and improve the quality of life of our people. Honorable Speaker, sir, as I mentioned earlier, the government has launched the Ama Didi Bani Being Pass services, the first initiative of its kind in Sikkim, which was inaugurated by the Honorable President of India during her recent visit to the state, providing dedicated public transport for women and operated entirely by women drivers and conductors. The service is a significant step towards enhancing women safety, mobility, and economic empowerment. Honorable Speaker, sir, self-help groups are the support of the rural economy, serving as catalyst for women's empowerment, financial inclusion, entrepreneurship, and community development. They strengthen livelihood, foster self-resilience, and enable women to emerge an active agent of socio-economic transformation. In recognition of their invaluable contribution, the government will organize the self-help group Bharosa Sammelan, which will celebrate, encourage, and honor the dedication, resilience, and entrepreneurial spirit of self-help group members. The Sammelan will reaffirm the government's commitment to strengthening the self-help group movement and advancing inclusive rural development across Sikkim. Honorable Speaker, sir, art, music, literature, and the culture are integral to the preserving the identity, tradition, and collective heritage of a society while fostering creativity, social cohesion, and a sense of belonging among communities. Recognizing their importance, the government remains committed to the conservation, promotion, and advancement of the rich art, culture, literary tradition of Sikkim society, for which the government has established the Sikkim Art, Culture and Heritage Development Board. The government provides annual grants to the board and extend continuous support to institutions such as the Sikkim Academy and the Namgyal Institute of Tibetology for the preservation, promotion and documentation of Sikkim unique culture and intellectual heritage. Additionally, the Kalakar Bharosa Sammelan celebrates and acknowledges the immense contribution of our artists, writer, musician and cultural practitioner. Through this initiative, the government remains steadfast in its commitment to nurturing artists' excellence, preserving cultural heritage and inspiring future generations to uphold, celebrate and enrich the rich traditional and diverse cultural legacy of Sikkim. Honorable Speaker, sir, as we pursue economic progress, we must also preserve the rich cultural heritage and traditional wisdom that define the identity of our people. One such fresh legacy is the Rosum. The traditional Lepcha Kin bridge, a remarkable example of the indigenous engineering that has connected communities across difficult terrain for centuries while remaining the complete harmony with nature. Recognizing its historical, culture and ecological significance, the government has undertaken a comprehensive documentation of the Rosum tradition through extensive field studies in Jangu involving anthropologists, community elders, master bridge builders, researchers and experts. This initiative seeks to preserve not only the construction technique but also the traditional knowledge system that have sustained this unique engineering practice for generations. A new Rosum has already been constructed at Higetang in Lower Jangu, creating a living heritage site that will serve as an educational resource and ecotourism attraction. We are also partnering with UNESCO and leading academic institutions to document and study this indigenous engineering tradition in the Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve. The government is committed to securing wider recognition for Rosum as a globally significant example of sustainable design and ecological engineering. A proposal is being prepared for its inclusion in the National Inventory of Intangible Cultural Heritage of India, paving the way for future international recognition. Through this effort, we reaffirm or believe that indigenous knowledge systems continue to offer valuable lessons for sustainable development and climate resilience in the modern world. Rosum stands as a symbol of resilience, innovation and harmony with nature and a source of pride for the Lepcha community and the people of Sikkim. Honorable Speaker, sir, Las cardamom is not merely a crop, it is an integral part of Sikkim economic culture and identity. It supports nearly 20,000 farming families and has been a cornerstone of rural livelihood for generations. However, in recent decades, the sector has faced serious challenges due to disease, declining productivity, soil degradation, and the effect of climate change, resulting in substantial income losses for farmer communities. To address this challenge, the government has launched the flagship mission Mero Alaichi Mero Dhan with the objective of restoring the vitality of the Las cardamom through science-based intervention and farmer participation. A comprehensive survey covering over 21,000 households and extensive scientific studies have helped identify the key factors responsible for the decline, including fungal and viral diseases, genetic erosions caused by prolonged coronal propagation, soil degradation, and climate change. Based on this finding, a three-tier strategy has been adopted. Immediate measures focus on promoting disease-tolerant varieties and improve cultivation practices. Medium-term intervention include the development of eco-friendly biological solutions to protect crops while preserving Sikkim organic status. Long-term efforts are directed towards developing climate resilience and high-yielding varieties through advanced research and biotechnology. Significant progress has already been achieved. Collaboration research project involving leading national research institutions, including International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, National Institute of Plant Genome Research, National Center for Biological Science, National Agri-Food Biotechnology Institute, and Institute of Bioresources and Sustainable Development has been sanctioned by the Government of India. 12 numbers of farmer field laboratories or the Krishak Alaichi Prayogshala have been established across the state to develop new cardamom crossbreed. Field trials of improved disease-tolerant varieties such as Hariyo and Pake at over 40 locations have shown encouraging results. Through this initiative, we seek to restore farmer prosperity, revive a cherished cultural legacy, and reaffirm Sikkim position as a global leader in premium large cardamom production. Honorable Speaker, sir, maintaining Sikkim position as one of the cleanest and environmentally conscious state in the country remains a key priority of the government. With increasing urbanization, rising tourist arrival, and growing waste generation, strengthening scientific waste management system has become more important than ever. In this regard, the government has undertaken major initiative for the operation of the Martam landfill, which had historically received municipal waste from Gangtok and surrounding area. Over the years, the site accumulated nearly 2.33 lakh metric tons of legacy waste, resulting in environmental concern and inconvenience to nearby communities. To address this challenge, the government sanctioned the biomiming of legacy waste at Martam, and that the work is now at the advanced stage of completion. This initiative will help reclaim valuable land, reduce environmental risks, and significantly improve the overall condition of the site. Further, the government has sanctioned modernization of waste processing facilities at Martam, state-of-the-art machinery and infrastructure, including automatic waste segregation system, baling facilities, and scientific waste treatment and incineration system have been installed to ensure efficient processing and disposal of municipal waste. These facilities will minimize stock filling of waste and promote environmentally sound waste management practices. Our objective is to transform Martam landfill site from a conventional dumping site into a modern integrated waste management facility capable of handling present and future waste generation in a scientific and sustainable manner. Honorable Speaker, sir, as Sikkim advances on its journey towards a resilient, inclusive, and future-ready economy, the government continues to make strategic investment in critical sectors that drive long-term growth and improve the quality of the life of our people. Through a combination of externally added project, institutional reforms, and targeted intervention, we are strengthening human capital, modernizing infrastructure, and building the foundation of sustainable development. One of the flagship initiatives under this framework is Sikkim Inspire, recognizing that the future of Sikkim will be shaped by the strength of its women and youth. The government has launched a transformative program to place them at the center of the state development strategy. The program is being implemented through 8 departments under a common framework and cover all 6 districts of the state. It aims to directly benefit 3,500,000 women and youth by 2029 through enhanced skill entrepreneurship, employment opportunities, and improve access to economic resources. The program reflects a shift from welfare-based intervention to an empowerment-led development model. Our focus is to enable women and youth to become entrepreneurs, skilled professionals, and active participants in Sikkim economic growth. In the tourism sector, which remain a key pillar of the state economy, specialized training programs are being implemented for homestay operators in partnership with premier institutions such as Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Patna, and Indian Institute of Management, IIM Lucknow. Lucknow, simultaneously through the Indian Himalayan Center for Adventure and Ecotourism, Sikkim has become the first state in the country to offer certified training program for bird guides and mountaineering expedition guides. In addition to courses in trekking, rafting, skiing, and rock climbing, these initiatives are creating new livelihood opportunities while positioning Sikkim as a leader in adventure and ecotourism. The program has also opened global employment pathway for our youth under the Chief Minister European Language and Employment via aspirational training and engagement CM Elevate initiative. 19 young women from Sikkim are currently employed at registered nurses in Germany, earning internationally competitive salaries and contributing their families and communities back home. Several more candidates are in advanced stages of language training, certification, and visa processing, creating a sustainable pipeline of overseas employment opportunities for our nursing professionals. Recognizing that economic empowerment must be accompanied by social well-being, Sikkim Inspire has supported the state first integrated mental health and suicide prevention strategy. Teachers, healthcare, and workers and counselors are being trained to identify and support vulnerable individuals, while life skill education programs have been strengthened across the school. This sustained effort have contributed to a steady decline in the state suicide rate in the recent year, while expanding access to mental health support services. I am pleased to inform that as per the National Crime Record Bureau, the suicide rate has decreased from 43.1 per lakh population in 2022 to 40.2 in 2023 and further to 36.3 in 2024, reflecting an overall decline of nearly 15.8% over the 2 years period. One of the most pressing challenges facing Sikkim today is the rapid decline in fertility labor. According to the NFSS 6 2023-24, Sikkim's total fertility rate stands at 1.0, the lowest in country. To address the demographic challenge, the government is establishing a modern assisted reproductive Technology Center of STNM Hospital, Gangtok. The facility is being developed in collaboration with AIIMS, New Delhi, which will provide technical support and specialized training to our medical personnel such as doctor, embryologists, andrologists, nurses, counselors, and floor managers. The first phase of service is expected to become operational during the current year. Further, the Indian Council of Medical Research had sanctioned a research grant to undertake a comprehensive study on fertility trends and preparedness of the state health system. The finding of this study will guide evidence-based policy intervention in the year ahead. In addition, the program is also supporting new age livelihood opportunities while preserving and promoting our traditional handicraft and handloom sector. Specialized training is being provided in merging creative industries such as anime and manga design, enabling our youth to access global digital market and future-ready careers. With gives us confidence in this approach is the strong evidence based on which the program has been designed. Baseline surveys conducted across the state have helped identify aspiration, opportunities, and gaps among women and youth, ensuring that investment are targeted where they can generate and greatest impact. Sikkim Inspire is more than a development program. It is an investment in human capital, entrepreneurship, and social resilience. It is creating opportunities for women to lead enterprises, enabling youth to access quality employment, strengthening families, and preparing our state to meet future economic and demographic challenges. I urge our women and youth to come forward and take full advantage of this transformative initiative, which offer unprecedented opportunities for upward socio-economic mobility. Honorable Speaker, sir, reliable and equality power supply is the foundation of economic growth, social development, and improved quality of life. The government remains committed to ensuring that every household, institution, business establishment, and public service in the service has access to affordable, reliable, and uninterrupted electricity. Our vision is to transform Sikkim power sector into a modern, consumer-centric, financially sustainable, and climate-resilient system capable of supporting the aspirations of a developed Sikkim. Given the unique challenges posed by Himalayan terrain and increasing climate-related risks, our focus is not only on expanding infrastructure but also on building a robust and future-ready power network. To achieve this vision, Sikkim Power Sector Development Project is being implemented with financial assistance from the Asian Development Bank. This project represents one of the largest investments in the state power distribution infrastructure and will significantly strengthen areas not covered under other flagship schemes. The project will involve extensive upgradation of approximately 1,350 kilometers of overhead, underground, and cover 11 kV distribution lines, replacement of 1,325 kilometers of aging low-tension lines, and capacity addition and augmentation of 460 distribution transformers across the state. Special emphasis is being placed on climate-resilient infrastructure through the use of underground cabling, aerial bunches cable, and appropriate conductor in vulnerable locations. These interventions will reduce disruption caused by landslide, extreme weather event, and other challenges associated with other mountainous terrain. In addition, through the revamped distribution sector scheme RDSS, we aim to modernize the electricity distribution system, improving power quality and reliability, reducing distribution losses, and enhancing operational efficiency. Under the smart metering component of this scheme, I am pleased to inform this August House that more than 92,000 smart meters covering nearly 64% of the state consumer have already been installed. This initiative is driving the digital transformation of the power sector by enabling accurate billing, real-time monitoring of consumption, improved consumer services, and stronger revenue management. The infrastructure strengthening component of RDSS will modernize the state distribution network through replacement of aging high and low tension lines, augmentation of transmission and transmissions system, and deployment of modern technologies to improve reliability, reduce losses, and enhance public safety. A climate-related risks continue to increase. Building resilient infrastructure has become necessary. The government is therefore committed to developing a power system that is disaster resilient, climate adaptive, and capable to ensuring uninterrupted electricity supply even under adverse conditions. This investment will not only improve service deliveries but also strengthening the state's preparedness for future challenges. The government is also enhancing its institutional capabilities. A dedicated transformer repair workshop is being established and shall be made functional during current financial year. This facility will enable in-house repair and maintenance of transformer, reduce downtime, lower maintenance costs, and facilitate faster restoration of power supply. Through sustained investment in network modernization, digital technologies, institutional capacity building, and climate resilient infrastructure, state governments laying the foundation for a longer, smarter, and more sustainable power sector. This investment will support tourism industry, digital governance, healthcare, education, and employment generation, while ensuring long-term energy security for the people of Sikkim. The power sector is not merely an infrastructure service, it is an enabler of development. Every investment made today is an investment in the future prosperity, resilience, and sustainable growth of our state. Honorable Speaker, sir, the government further recognizes that well-planned towns and cities are critical drivers of economic growth, social progress, and improved quality of life. Urbanization is in itself a powerful engine of growth and prosperity. Sikkim has witnessed a significant increase in the urbanization over the last 15 years, and population projection indicate that by 2047, nearly 80% of the state population may reside in urban areas. Urban centers with their concentration of people, enterprises, and institutions generate a strong multiplier effect that drive economic activity and productivity. Urbanization encourages specialization, economics of scale, and greater labor productivity, while also attracting investment, innovation, and entrepreneurship. As towns and cities expand, they create new demand for skills, services, and employment opportunities, leading to higher economic increase, speeding, and further investment in infrastructure such as road, public transport system, and public utilities further stimulate economic activity by improving accessibility and connectivity. Recognizing both the opportunities and challenges arising from this transaction, the government has adopted a comprehensive approach combining scientific urban planning, institutional reforms, and strategic infrastructure investment. A major milestone in this journey is the Sikkim Integrated Urban Development Project, supported by the Asian Development Bank, which became effective in December 2025. This transformative initiative will strengthen water supply, sewerage system, flood resilience, urban mobility, and public infrastructure across Rampur, Singtam, Pakyong, Ranipul, Tadung, Mangan, Soring, and Gezing. Transit hub community complexes will also be developed to address parking shortages and traffic congestion, while improving urban mobility and public convenience. The government has also undertaken significant policy and institutional reforms to support planned urban growth. The enactment of the Sikkim Town and Country Planning Act 2024 and the Sikkim Land Assembly and Development Scheme Rule 2025 has created a strong framework for sustainable urban expansion and infrastructure development. The creation of Nagar Panchayat in Pakyong and Soring and the introduction of a common municipal cadre have further strengthened urban governance and service delivery. This need for planned urban expansion is particularly evident in Gangtok, the capital of city of Sikkim, which has become increasingly congested and overcrowded. Owing to its mountainous terrain and geographical constraints, the city offers limited scope for road widening and the creation of additional infrastructure for the movement of people and goods. At present, more than 15% of Sikkim population reside in Gangtok, and as the administrative, commercial, and service center of the state, it is expected to cater directly and indirectly to nearly 1/4 of the state population in the future through its economic leakages and supply chains. It is therefore imperative to adopt a strategy of decentralized and planned urban growth through the develop a satellite town. In this regard, the government proposes to develop strategically located satellite town between Pakyong and Gangtok, as well as in the Rangka area, supported by the efficient transport connectivity with the capital city. This satellite town will serve the dual objective of decongestion Gangtok while creating additional space for the future residential, commercial, and institutional expansion. In this first phase, the government will explore the development of the satellite town capable of accommodating the population of approximately 50,000 persons. Based on the success of this initiative, additional ring fence growth center may be considered in other suitable locations across the state. We remain equally committed to improve the quality and attractiveness of public spaces. Under the revitalization of Gangtok Historic Core Initiative, Sadbhav Mandap at MG Marg will be developed as a public utility center, while the Rees Park precincts will be upgraded to improve landscaping, public amenities, and heritage-sensitive urban design. This initiative, along with the development of the Swarna Jayanti Maitreya Manjari, will fulfill strengthen Gangtok identity as a vibrant culture and tourism destination. Honorable Speaker, sir, good governance founded upon transparency, accountability, efficiency, and timely delivery of the public services. In keeping with this principle, the government proposes to embark upon a major program of digital transformation of public financial management during the year 26-27. Over the last few years, the state has progressively strengthening the state integrated financial management information system Pranali through the development and operationalization of key modules relating to payrolls, civil and works account. The state has also successfully implemented the reforms related to SNA SPOS and direct benefit transfer architecture through integration with PFMS, RBI e-Kuber, NPCI and the State Bank of Sikkim, thereby establishing a strong digital foundation for financial governance. During 26-27, the government proposes to implement and operationalize the following major reforms. E-sanction. Number one, e-sanction shall be introduced to enable online generation, approval and monitoring of administrative and finance sanction. These will ensure complete traceability of approvals, strengthen and adherence to delegates' financial power, and substantially reduce delays associated with manual processing. Number two, e-budget module. The existing budget management framework shall be upgraded into a comprehensive e-budget system facilitating digital preparation and approval. Distribution and monitoring of budget with real-time visibility of allocations and expenditure across department. Number three, e-payment. The state shall further strengthen its e-payment ecosystem through deeper integration of treasuries, banking system and digital payment platform, ensuring secure, timely and fully auditable financial transaction. Number four, e-receipt system. An integrated e-receipt system shall be introduced for electronic collection, accounting and reconciliation of government revenue. This reform will improve revenue administration, reduce reconciliation delays and provide real-time information on government receipt. E-voucher, number five, e-voucher. The government processes to establish a comprehensive e-voucher system enabling digitally generated, authenticated and securely stored voucher with complete audit trails and real-time ability of transaction level information. Number six, Aadhaar-based direct benefit transfer. The government will progressively extend Aadhaar-based direct benefit transfer architecture to the eligible state-sponsored beneficiary-oriented scheme, ensuring that benefit is intended beneficiary in a transparent, efficient, and accountable manner. Honorable Speaker, sir, the recommendation of the 16th Finance Commission and the action taken report of the Government of India were placed before Parliament along with the Union Budget 26-27. While the overall vertical devolution to state has been maintained at 41%, changes in the horizontal devolution formula have had significant implication for small Himalayan states such as Sikkim. Sikkim is characterized by a small population base, limited revenue generating capacity, high unit cost of service delivery arising from difficult terrain and dispersed habitation, ecological fragility and strategic international borders. These unique circumstances necessitate sustained public investment in the infrastructure, connectivity, livelihood generation, environmental conservation, and social development. Under the recommendation of the 16th Finance Commission, Sikkim shares in the divisible pool of central taxes has declined from 0.388% to 0.335%. This reduction is largely attributable to changes in the horizontal devolution criteria, particularly reduced weight assigned to the area criterion and modification in the methodology adoption for distribution among states. The resulting fiscal impact of the state is substantial and poses significant challenges for maintaining developmental momentum and citizen-centric program. Recognizing this concern, I made the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Union Finance Minister shortly after the presentation of the Union Budget and apprised them of the adverse impact of the reverse devolution framework on the finances of Sikkim. During this discussion, I highlighted the special developmental, ecological, and strategic circumstances of the state and the needed for continued support to sustain our growth trajectory and developmental commitment. I am pleased to inform this August House that the Government of India has responded positively to the concern of Hill State through the introduction of the Pride of Hills Special Development Assistance for Hill State. The initiative acknowledges the unique challenges faced by Hill State arising from difficult terrain, inaccessibility, low population density, limited revenue potential, and relatively weaker fiscal indicator. It seeks to provide additional fiscal support for capital investment and to create fiscal space for addressing committed liabilities, thereby accelerating sustainable and inclusive development in this state. This special assistance is a welcome recognition of the developmental aspirations and fiscal realities of the Himalayan state. The additional resources will support our effort towards strengthening infrastructure, enhancing connectivity, promoting climate resilience development, improving public service delivery, and creating livelihood opportunities for our youth. I place on record the sincere gratitude to the people and government I place on record the sincere gratitude of the people and Government of Sikkim to the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Union Finance Minister for their understanding and support. We remain committed to utilizing these resources prudently and effectively in furtherance of our vision of prosperous, resilient, and Vikasit Sikkim 2047. Honorable Speaker, sir, prudent fiscal management has become one of the defining features of Sikkim development journey. While borrowing is essential instrument for financing infrastructure, improving public services, and creating opportunities for economic growth, it must be guided by principle of sustainability, transparency, and intergenerational equality. The Government of Sikkim has consistently adhered to the framework of fiscal responsibility and has implemented a rule-based fiscal management system under the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. All borrowing of the state are undertaken within the framework approved by the Government of India and are fully disclosed and transparent. Over the years, public investment finance through borrowing has played a crucial role in expanding social and economic infrastructure, improving connectivity, strengthening public services, and enhancing the quality of life of our people. However, we are equally conscious that debt must remain sustainable and affordable so that future generations are not burdened with excessive repayment obligations. With this objective, the government has prepared a medium-term debt management strategy for the period 26-27 to 28-29, which provide a comprehensive roadmap for managing the state borrowing program in a prudent and responsible manner. Honorable Speaker, sir, since my government assumed office in 2019, the state has faced several extraordinary challenges, including the COVID-19 pandemic, the Glacier Lake outburst, flood of 2023, and repeated disruption of NS chain, the state lifeline to the rest of the country. This event placed considerable pressure on state finances and necessitated higher level of public expenditure to protect livelihood, restore infrastructure, and sustain economic activities. Despite these challenges, the debt profile of the state remained manageable and sustainable. The weighted average interest cost of state debt has steadily declined, and debt servicing obligation remain well within accepted sustainability norms. Importantly, the growth rate of the state economy continues to exceed the average cost of borrowing, which is a key indicator of long-term debt sustainability. The Government of India has also provided significant support to the Special Assistant to State for Capital Investment, SASCI, under which substantial resources have been made available as long-term interest-free loan. These funds have enabled the state to undertake critical infrastructure investment while moderating the growth of interest-bearing debt. In order to further strengthen debt sustainability, the government has decided to adopt a structured borrowing strategy aimed at reducing risks, improving predictability, and lowering borrowing costs over time. The strategy is set to diversify the maturity profile of state borrowing, avoid concentrations of repayment in any particular years, and enhance investor confidence through greater transparency and predictability in the borrowing program. Regular consultation with the Reserve Bank of India and market participants will continue to ensure efficient management of the state debt portfolio. A key objective of the strategy is to gradually extend the maturity profile of borrowing, and thereby reducing refinancing risks and ensuring a smoother repayment schedule. The government will also continue to strengthen cash management practices and make regular contribution to the consolidated sinking fund and guarantee redemption fund maintained with the State Bank of Sikkim. Honorable Speaker, sir, the government remains committed to fiscal consolidation. Accordingly, it has been decided that the level of interest-bearing debt shall be maintained at 32% of GSDP during the medium-term period up to 2028-29. This ceiling will serve as an important fiscal anchor for debt management and will be reviewed periodically in light of evolving economic condition and resource availability. At the same time, we recognize that Sikkim continues to face infrastructure deficit, connectivity challenges, and developmental needs that require sustained public investment. The state therefore seeks to strike a careful balance between supporting growth and maintaining fiscal deficit. The medium-term debt management strategy reflects a balanced approach. It provides a framework that will enable the government to finance development priorities while safeguarding fiscal sustainability, maintaining investor confidence, and ensuring long-term macroeconomic stability. Through prudent borrowing, efficient debt management, and responsible fiscal stewardship, we remain committed to building a stronger economy, improving public infrastructure, and creating greater opportunities for the people of Sikkim while preserving the fiscal health of the state for future generations. Honorable Speaker, sir, beyond economic development and social progress, the government remains firmly committed to addressing certain long-standing issues that are integral to the identity, consider safeguard, cultural heritage, and democratic aspiration of the people of Sikkim. These matters are not merely policy concerns. They embody the legitimate aspiration of our indigenous communities and reflect our collective commitment to preserving Sikkim's unique historical and constitutional legacy. With this objective, the government has pursued sustained dialogue and constructive engagement with the Government of India while undertaking a series of concrete initiatives to facilitate the early resolution of these important issues. I would now like to briefly inform this August House of the progress made in this regard. Number one, inclusion of the 12 left-out indigenous communities of Sikkim in the scheduled tribe list. One such important issue is the long-standing demand for the inclusion of the 12 left-out indigenous communities of Sikkim in the scheduled tribe list under the Constitution of India, recognizing the historical significance and legitimacy of this demand. The Sikkim Legislative Assembly had earlier passed an unanimous resolution in support of the inclusion of these communities in the scheduled tribes list. Therefore, purposeful representations have been made by the government to the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Union Minister Home, and Honorable Union Minister of Tribal Affairs, seeking favorable consideration of these long-pending issues. Further, with a view to provide more concrete and substantive input in support of the demand, the government constituted the Sikkim High-Level Committee under the chairmanship Professor B.V. Sharma, Director, Anthropological Survey of India, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, to prepare a ethnographic report on all 12 communities. The committee comprises some of the country's most distinguished experts, professionals, and experienced officials drawn from leading institutions across India as well as from within Sikkim. constituted in November 24. The committee undertook an extensive scientific, ethnographic, and historical exercise and submitted a comprehensive report establishing a strong constitutional, historical, and social culture ground for the inclusion of these 12 indigenous communities in the scheduled tribe list. The report of the committee was subsequently placed before the Council of Ministers for consideration and recommendation. It was duly accepted by the Council of Ministers and thereafter rectified by the Sikkim Legislative Assembly through an unanimously resolution recommending the inclusion of these communities in the scheduled tribe list for consideration by the Government of India. The government shall continue to pursue this issue with unwavering commitment and determination until the long-standing aspirations of these indigenous communities are duly recognized and fulfilled. Number 2, reservation of seat for Limbu and Tamang communities in the Sikkim Legislative Assembly. Another pressing issue pertains to the provisions of the reserved seat in the Sikkim Legislative Assembly for the Limbu and Tamang communities. Although these communities were notified as scheduled tribe in 2003, the corresponding reservation of seat in the Eastern Legislative Assembly has not yet been implemented. There remains a significant gap in ensuring political representation and social justice for these indigenous communities. Article 371F within bracket small f of the Constitution empower Parliament to make provision for protecting the rights and interests of different sections of the population of Sikkim. Especially, it provides for determining the number of seats in the Sikkim Legislative Assembly to be filled by candidates belonging to such section and for the delimitation of constituencies from which these candidates may contest election. This special constitutional safeguard was designed to maintain equitable representation for all indigenous communities of Sikkim. The government has consistently pursued the early resolution of this legitimate demand with the Government of India so as to ensure adequate political representation and fulfill the long-standing aspiration of the Limbu and Tamang communities. We remain confident that this genuine and constitutionally justified aspiration of the people of Sikkim will receive due consideration from the Government of India in the spirit of justice, equality, and the special safeguard investions under Article 371 F of the Constitution. Number 3, return of His Holiness the 17th Karmapa to Sikkim. The government is also actively engaging with the Government of India to facilitate the return of His Holiness Ugen Tille Dorji, the 17th Karmapa and supreme head of the Karma Kagyu tradition, one of the 4 principal schools of the Nalanda tradition of Vajrayana Buddhism, to India and thereafter to his spiritual seat in Sikkim. In anticipation of this historic and spiritually significant occasion, the government has completed the construction of a dedicated monastery at Phodong to serve as the residence of His Holiness during his stay in Sikkim. The Government of India has extended its support and cooperation to this endeavor, and the government remains hopeful that the revered presence of His Holiness in Sikkim will bestow immense spiritual blessing upon the state and its people, well further strengthening Sikkim's rich Buddhist heritage, culture, tradition, and spiritual legacy. Number 4, inclusion of Bhutia, Lepcha, and Limbu language in the 8th schedule. Sikkim is endowed with a rich and diverse linguistic and cultural heritage. Among the prominent indigenous languages of the state are Bhutia, Lepcha, and Limbu, which are deeply rooted in the socio-cultural identity and tradition of the people. These languages are not only widely spoken across the state, but are also firmly taught in schools, colleges, and Sikkim University up to the master's and PhD levels. In view of their historical, cultural, and educational significance, and considering that these languages possess their own script, grammar, and rich literary tradition, supported by a vast repository of traditional knowledge, the government has proposed the inclusion of the Bhutia, Lepcha, and Limbu languages in the 8th schedule of the Constitution of India. Their inclusion would be a fitting tribute to the India's linguistic diversity and enduring recognition of Sikkim unique cultural identity. It would also extend an effort to preserve, promote, and pass on this valuable linguistic and cultural heritage to future generations. The government shall continue to pursue this long-standing aspiration with the Government of India to secure constitutional recognition for these languages and ensure the preservation and promote of Sikkim rich linguistic and cultural heritage for generations to come. Honorable Speaker, sir, with your permission, I now present the budget for the financial year 2026-27 before this August House. This budget reflects the government's continued commitment to fiscal prudent, sustainable development and the welfare of our people. It is designed to strengthen our economy, foster inclusive growth, and ensure that the benefit of development reaches every citizen of Sikkim. For the financial year 2026-27, we have made a gross expenditure provision of rupees 19,215 crores. After accounting for recoveries amounting to rupees 760 crore, the net expenditure stands at rupees 18,455 crore. To finance this expenditure, the state has relied on a balanced combination of its own revenue, transfer from the Government of India, and prudent borrowing. The estimated receipt comprised tax revenue of rupees 2275 crore, non-tax revenue of rupees 1124 crores, state share of center taxes rupees 5113 crores, grant in aid from the Government of India rupees 3867 crore, gross borrowing rupees 2765 crore, financial assistance under the scheme for special assistance to state for capital investment of rupees 3312 crores, and net public account receipt of minus rupees 49 crore aggregated to the total receipt of rupees 18,407 crore, yani 18,407 crore. The allocation in this budget has been designed to address the government core priorities of good governance, infrastructure development, and social welfare. The proposed expenditure is categorized as follows. Revenue expenditure has been estimated at rupees 11,733 crores, and capital expenditure at rupees 5,896 crore, 5,896 crore, excluding loans and advance amounting to rupees 826 crores, and amount of rupees 2460 crore, 2,460 crore has been provided on the Center Response Scheme, reflecting our commitment to leveraging center assistance for accelerating development across sector. This budget is not merely a statement of receipt and expenditure. It is a roadmap for a stronger, more resilient and prosperous Sikkim. It reflects our unwavering commitment to fiscal responsibility, inclusive growth, environmental sustainability, and the welfare of every citizen. The government remains committed to creating opportunities for our youth, strengthening livelihood of farmers and rural communities, developing better infrastructure, and providing quality public services, and building a future that is both economically vibrant and socially equitable. At the same time, we are committed to preserving the peace, harmony, and rich natural environment that are the hallmark of our state. With prudent financial management, the continued support of the Government of India, and the collective effort of our people, we are confident that Sikkim will continue its journey towards sustainable development and emerge as a model state of progress, innovation, and good governance. With this commitment, I place before the August House the annual financial statement, explanatory memorandum to the annual budget, estimates of receipt and demand for grant for the fiscal year 2026-27 for its kind consideration and approval. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Sikkim, sir.
Thank you, sir. Honorable members, general budget of the state of Sikkim for the financial year 2026-27 has been presented to the House. The copy of the budget speech for the year 2026-27, explanatory memorandum, annual financial statement, estimate of receipt and demand for grant of the Government of Sikkim for the financial year 2026